for a deeper and broader insight, we're heading live to New York City. David Christopher Kaufman, former communications advisor for Eric Adams' campaign and fellow at the Tel Aviv Institute. Thank you very much, the one and only CK. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So you are suggesting it's not, it's the other way around. Without October 7th, there would not have been a Zoran Mamdani, specifically the person, but also symbolically.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Mamdani is more than just a person. He's more than just a candidate. He's a movement, but he's also the embodiment of 2 years of this coordinated effort to demonize Israel, to demonize Jews, to demonize governments that support Israel, to demonize leaders like Donald Trump who are backing Israel and backing Israel's right to defend itself. Mamdani is the embodiment. He's sort of like a cipher almost of this frustration by so many on the left, by Democrats, by progressives, by Queers for Palestine, by all these folks who've aligned up with Hamas, with the pro-Palestinian movement. What they have in Mamdani finally is an actual human who they believe supports their worldview, who they believe will enact their worldview. And they find in Mamdani the opportunity to actually take an action, to actually do something about their frustration or anger with the current situation in Gaza in the safest space possible, the ballot box. For them, Mamdani is very much a vote against Netanyahu and a vote against folks like Trump who support Netanyahu.
So, you know, I will ask it in reverse, because to an extent, the mere fact that you and I are now talking about it, maybe we're allocating him more clout than he actually has. But you know, he can only wield so much power if elected. Should we really be so worried about him? Or are we making a bigger deal than it really is?
I think we should be very worried about him. I think we're actually not worried enough about him. What's been so canny about Mamdani and so clever about Mamdani is the way in which he has been able to weaponize anti-Semitic and anti-Zionistic tropes and sentiments throughout the culture and really use them both to power his own candidacy, but to also make a larger statement on the political stage. He's emerged as an international political figure precisely because of Israel and his Israel mania and obsession. What will happen, even though he doesn't wield multinational, international power, but what will happen if he becomes mayor of New York is that it will go from just weaponizing his blatant anti-Semitism to really institutionalizing it. He will sit in a very prestigious place of power with the ability to sprout this worldview. And while he won't necessarily be able to, enact laws that might change how the U.S. engages with the Middle East, he will be able to set a tone in City Hall. He speaks about reducing the police. Well, he's reducing the police at a time when Jews in New York have never experienced more anti-Semitism. Don't forget, attacks. There were more anti-Semitic attacks last year in New York than all other hate crimes combined. So Mamdani is going to have quite a bit of power over a police force that needs to, step in and make sure that Jews are safe.
So it's not Mamdani per se, it's Mamdanism, if you will, that should worry us even further. And in this respect,
absolutely.
Mr. Christopher Kaufman, you were there behind the scenes. The Adams brave decision to get out of the race. What's the state of the race now? Can Cuomo win?
Yeah, I think that's the million-dollar question, and we really don't know. I mean, there definitely was a huge economic impact to Mayor Adams leaving the race. Cuomo saw, vast amounts of contributions into his campaign in a very brief period of time. But it hasn't really translated into a major boost when it comes to the polls. But again, the polls, aren't necessarily asking the right questions. Also, the polls can't necessarily be trusted. Cuomo was 13 points ahead of Mamdani in June during the Democratic primary and lost. Eric Adams was 11 points behind his greatest challenger 4 years ago when he ran for mayor of New York. Polls are very difficult right now for this campaign because there's never been an election like this before. Typically, the candidate that wins the Democratic primary in New York City, he goes on to sail through and become the mayor because there isn't really a viable Republican challenger. This campaign has completely upended that status quo. Mamdani has won the Democratic nomination, but now he's facing Republicans and independents. So it's very hard. There's no real baseline in which to measure this campaign. So polls are consistently placing Mamdani well ahead of Cuomo in every demographic, including African Americans and Jewish Americans. Again, it's really hard to say if those polls really matter because there's no baseline from which to compare them to.
Yeah, the dichotomies are only getting starker and starker. David Christopher Kaufman, DCK, thank you so very much, as per always, for your time and your insight.
Thank you very much.